guest, Jen Bartashus from Bloomberg Intelligence. Thanks for being with me today.
Thanks, Elizabeth. It's great to be here.
So I'll just start straight away. Is the plant-based foods sector and plant-based meats perhaps in particular a fad or a trend?
It is not a fad. It is a nascent industry. And I think what people need to remember is that with an industry that's so small and still growing, there are going to be bumps up and down the road. And we're in a little bit of a turbulent time because we've been through a turbulent time. But we're still very optimistic about the long-term opportunity and growth potential for the industry. It may be a little bit slower than we originally thought it would be, but then we had a pandemic and we had supply chain issues and we had all kinds of things that sort of, influence consumer behavior. But on the long term, we still think that it's here to stay and it's going to continue to grow.
Mm-hmm. So let's put a finer point to that. I'll add that we've also had inflation, and basically they haven't called it officially yet, but we're in a recession, sort of. I mean, the job numbers are still good, but we are toying with enough to make everyone panicked and freaked out with a recession. So obviously some headwinds for all businesses, not just plant-based businesses, but all businesses. So if you still consider this a trend, what kind of numbers are you seeing from your research department for growth?
So when we look at what's been happening on a rolling 52-week basis, we use IRI scanner data, and that's what we look at very closely to measure how well this segment is doing in the United States. And so looking at it on a 52-week basis, plant-based sales are down 4% and volume is down 10%. And that is part of what's giving fuel to the naysayers, I guess we should say. Now that said, we actually do still expect that by the end of this calendar year, that's going to move up, and that we're going to see positive sales growth and either flat to very slight positive volume growth by the end of the year. And there are a couple of things that are really going to help support that. The first is we think that it looks like beef prices in terms of conventional beef are going to be going up. We're in a cycle of the beef production cycle where there's limited supply, and that generally means that prices are going to go up. And so for hamburger alternatives, like your Beyond Meats or your Impossibles, Conagra, their Gardein type products, that's actually good news, because one of the biggest drivers is price and price parity to conventional products. So higher beef prices is something that could actually be very good for the plant-based sector as we get to the second half of this year. And then secondly, we have an improving supply chain. That means that there's better distribution. That means that products that are in stores have better quality, better shelf life, so that when people see them, they can take them home and they last a little bit longer in the refrigerator. Those are things that when they look optically more appealing and it has a longer shelf life, or date, expiration date, that is also, a driver for consumers when they're making their decisions in the store. So those are kind of the things that we're looking at. And we do think that that trend is going to shift as we get towards the end of the year.